Hey guys, it's Mr. Jemison, and we are back with another Acellus training video. In this video, we are going to focus on note-taking in the Acellus online platform. I hope this really helps you because I know some of you guys have been wrestling with social studies and science and note-taking. This video is going to help you with note-taking in social studies, science, language arts, whatever subject you're taking, and this applies to multiple grades. I happen to be a 5th grade teacher, but Acellus as a platform caters to multiple grades from elementary to middle school. And one thing I love about it is that if you master certain skills, then you're going to be successful no matter what grade level you're on. So I want to encourage you to watch this video through the end. If you happen to find that there's certain skills that you get from the video early on, it's fine to pause it and try and go into your subjects. Or if you find yourself saying, you know what, I didn't quite get what I thought I was going to get from watching a little bit, you really need to focus on watching the whole thing. I'm going to leave that up to you, students and parents, but I hope this video really helps you to master your note-taking and be successful in all of your courses. So, thanks for watching. God bless, and we'll see you in the video. Okay, so we are back in the Acellus online platform, and what we see here in Acellus is that we're at our class screen, so we're going to log in to our classes, and when we log into our classes, we're going to go to grade 5 social studies. So I'm going to scroll down in grade 5 social studies, and you will find that I am at 323, connecting the East and West Coast. And the reason why I'm here is because I've been through this lesson before. I've studied this lesson, and this is a particular lesson that I'm going to use to show you about note-taking. So, without further ado, we're going to open up the video and we're going to take some notes.
After the Civil War during Reconstruction, the North and the South were reunited. So now there was a need to connect the East Coast with the West Coast. By the 1850s, there were thousands of miles of railroad tracks, but they were all out east. And if you wanted to get from the East Coast to the West Coast, you would have to take the Conestoga stage or a regular stagecoach. And this would take from Missouri to California 25 days if the weather was good.
Okay, I'm going to pause right here. Now, notice what she said, and you're going to see my notes here on the screen. She said, connecting East to West Coast was done specifically by certain methods. One of those methods was taking the stagecoach. Now, you'll notice on my notes, you see here that I have connecting East to West. I'm going to highlight it right there. That's the title of the lesson. You want to put the title of the lesson because when you do so, what it does is it helps you to remember where you are in your note-taking. Then, once you've done that, you can put your particular notes. You'll see that I've already entered some notes right here, and they say, to travel from east to west, people took the stage coaches. So, people used the stagecoach as a means to get where they needed to go. If they lived out east, they would travel west by the stagecoach. People could travel from Missouri to California in 25 days. Why would I write that down? Because anything concerning places, numbers, dates, and times are typically going to be found on our quizzes, our reviews, and our exams. Those are usually items that your course will want you to remember. So let's go back to Acellus and we'll see about what else we should be taking notes on.
Another effort to unite the East Coast to the West Coast was the Pony Express. By 1860, the Pony Express had come into existence, where it was trying to deliver mail from Missouri to California. And this was done with young men and teenagers who would have relay races across 2,000 miles to try to deliver the mail to California as soon as possible. And with these relay riders, they could usually do this in about 10 days. This is the Telegraph. The Telegraph replaced...
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. I'm going to pause it for just a second. I'm going to go back just a little bit. And I'm going to go now to the notes. Okay, here we go. So we talk about the Pony Express. Now, what we see is that the Pony Express is another method people travel from east to west. So I could say stagecoaches is number one. I'm just going to put a little one right here. That's one way people travel from east to west. Okay, people used the Pony Express. Okay, the Pony Express. What was the Pony Express? Well, she said in the video that young men would travel by relay race on a horseback, okay? So, and again, you can word this how you prefer to word it. You may not use the same words that I use, but as long as you understand what's being taught, I promise you, you'll be able to look back and this will help you on your reviews and exams. So, young men would travel on horseback by relay race, and what they would do is they would basically travel from east to west, and the Pony Express was used to deliver mail. Now you say, Mr. Jemison, how did you get all that in the 49 seconds? Not only can you watch the video, but you can click on the Help tab right here. You can also go to the lesson manual and make sure this is on your screen, okay? You can click on the Help tab where the video is, open up the lesson manual, and what you will find is that in that lesson manual, you have a main concept. What's the main concept? Exactly what we've been talking about. Different methods of travel were used to connect the East and West Coast. Okay, now it talks about efforts to unite the East and West Coast. Okay, what were those efforts? Okay, again, different forms of travel were used for people to send mail from the East and West, just to get from place to place. One of these methods was by stagecoach. Okay, we saw in the video and we read a stagecoach would take around 25 days to travel from Missouri to California. Then we have the Pony Express. This was used to deliver mail from Missouri to California. Young riders would have relay races across 2,000 miles to deliver mail to California as quick as possible. Okay, so we have number one, again, the stagecoach. Number two, the Pony Express. And number three is a Telegraph, which we're going to see about just now. So we'll get away from this lesson manual, we'll get out of the Help tab, and we will click on the Telegraph.
Who would have relay races across 2,000 miles to try to deliver the mail to California as soon as possible. And with these relay riders, they could usually do this in about 10 days. This is the Telegraph. The Telegraph replaced the Pony Express because once the telegraph lines were set up, if you sent a message, it would be received instantly. You've heard of the code Morse code. This was developed by an American inventor named Samuel Morse.
Okay, I'm going to pause right there. A lot of information there that I want to pay attention to. So if I click on my notes, here we go. I will put down, okay, the Telegraph, all right? The Telegraph did what? The Telegraph, very important, replaced, I'm going to put big bold letters because this is huge, replaced the Pony Express. The Telegraph replaced the Pony Express. So what does that mean? That when it came along, people no longer used the Pony Express because you could deliver messages how fast? Not days, not in hours. I want to get my notes just right. Let me see if I can get my notes right. Okay. Not in days, not in hours, but you could deliver messages instantly. Deliver messages instantly. You see I'm typing really fast, so you'll notice that I got to get right. Deliver messages instantly with the Telegraph, okay? And then we talk about Morse code. Did you hear who invented Morse code? Dr. Samuel Morse. Okay? So notice that every step of the way, I'm going to take notes on things that are important in the video, important information that is mentioned. Okay? So this will help me to understand better exactly what I need to understand. And keep in mind, you're going to hold on to these notes, not just for the quiz after the video, but for the review, for the exam, for all that information that you're going to need to be successful later on. Because what happens typically is that exam comes way later after you've done this lesson and you say, man, I don't remember that stuff. So we want to make sure that we are able to keep the information safely and refer back to it when it's necessary. Okay, going back into Acellus, talk about Morse code. Let's read about Morse code.
The steam engine also contributed to connecting the East Coast to the West Coast. And here we see the Union Pacific Railroad. It was a faster way of travel because when we talked about the stagecoaches, we said it took about 25 days if the weather was good to get from the East Coast to the West Coast. But on the train, you could make the connection between the East Coast and the West Coast in 10 days. However, the railroad tracks had to be run through Indian Territory, which would bring conflicts later on. It also showed a need for the Transcontinental Railroad, which would take place later.
Okay, so wow, big things going on. All right, so if we take a look at the big things going on, we want to document in our notes what is happening in the Old West. Okay, we talked about Morse code and Dr. Samuel Morse invented it. If you paid attention to the pictures, you want to remember, the little things about it, which were something like this. You can just write a little note like that. That just means that the Morse code was made of dashes, dots, little characters that they would send from place to place. Okay, now after Morse code, we talk about the railroad. Okay, railroad travel. Trains would travel from east to west. There were railroad tracks connecting the whole country. People travel by railroad. And it started with the railroad travel going from east to west, but then it ended up with more challenging things going on. One of those challenges that came about was Indian Territory, okay? All right? Indian Territory, you could put Indian, Native American Territory, and use those terms. Indian or Native American Territory was where they traveled on the train and they ran into different tribes, and this caused conflict, okay? What is conflict? Fighting, right? You saw the picture of the tribal chief with the gun. There was a fight taking place. People were now getting into fights because they were traveling through land that was owned and occupied by native tribes. So this was getting to be a problem. But nevertheless, the railroad continued, and what you want to put down is the Transcontinental Railroad. And you could just put a little note that says future, okay? The Transcontinental Railroad would come along in the future after rail travel started to become a common thing, okay? So if we look back, we can look back at our notes, we can compare to the video. We have stagecoaches, Pony Express, Telegraph, okay? Railroad travel, 1, 2, 3, 4, we got those. Let's compare to Acellus. Let's make sure that we're on track. No pun intended, ha ha ha. Okay, so I've got the Stagecoach, Pony Express, Telegraph, railroad travel. They specifically talk about the steam engine that was used in the trains. So I want to put that in my notes as well. I could just put a little caption in there. Railroad travel, steam engine. The steam engine helped to power the railroad. So you can put that in there as well and make sure you have that information documented. Okay, so they have, again, the They have, again, the Stagecoach, the Pony Express, the Telegraph, the steam engine, and then of course there is the Transcontinental Railroad that will come along much later, okay? So we'll finish up our video and make sure that there's nothing else that we missed.
So by looking at how the country was connected through the East and West Coast, through the Pony Express, the Telegraph, and the steam engine, we could see how America was coming together as a nation.
All right. And guess what? That's it, guys. That's everything, okay? So you get to see exactly how this comes together and how you can take notes, okay? So just a quick little review. Okay, the East and West Coast were connected how? People travel by stagecoach. People also sent mail by the Pony Express. People also used a telegraph, which communicated with Morse code. And then people also took advantage of railroad travel. And that railroad travel was made possible how? By the steam engine. So all in all, we have everything we need for a successful note taking. You can take this and you can apply this to your assessment, okay? And so if we take a look at the assessment, I can jump right on to 324 and take it right here, right now, and let's see how I do. We'll go ahead and actually jump into that. Let's see. How long did it take for a message to get from the East to the West with a telegraph? How long did it take? Let's take a look back at the notes. Okay, it says, let's see, deliver messages instantly. We documented that in our notes. We could be confident that is the answer. Instantaneous is correct. What else? What part of the U.S. needed to be united after the Civil War and the reconstruction of the North and South? Well, we know from our video that the video was titled Connecting What? Again, if we look at our notes, we can find that it was called Connecting East and West. Let me scroll up and make sure we have that on there. There we go. There's our title, Connecting East and West. Okay, so now if I take my quiz in Acellus, I'm not connecting Boston and New York. Those are up north. New Jersey and Illinois, nope. California and New Mexico, nope. Those are both out west. The best answer is East and West. Here we go. What was the name of the code used to send a message by telegraph? Electric code, Morse code, Da Vinci code, or telegraph code? We know, if we look at our notes, Dr. Samuel Morse invented the Morse code, okay? It was Dr. Samuel Morse who invented the Morse code. Therefore, we select Morse code as the correct answer. How long did it take young men riding relay races on the Pony Express to deliver the mail from Missouri to California? How long did it take them? Did it take them 50, 25, 10 days, or 100 days? Let's see, do we have that in our notes? Young men travel by relay. Okay, so here we go. We didn't quite document that well in our notes, but we have from the video that it took the young men a little bit faster than it took a stagecoach, so we know it was 10 days. What year did the Pony Express come into existence? Okay, great question. Here we go. Do we have that in our notes? No, not necessarily, but do you know what? If we were paying attention, we're paying close attention, here's what we can do. This is called the process of elimination. We can say that the Pony Express was not in the 1700s because that was the Revolutionary War. Remember, it was after the Civil War, okay? All this was after the Civil War. Not 1960, that's way later. 2000? Come on, some of you guys are born around that time. So we know the best answer would be around 1860. And boom, there we go. We're done. And guess what we got? 100%. Wow. Now, you noticed here that note-taking made all the difference. And so this will make you successful on every single assessment, every single review, every single exam, if you follow up with your notes. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the video. Thank you guys so much for joining me here in our Acellus workshop. Make sure that you pay close attention to the website. We're going to be posting new Acellus videos as we see students needing more and more help. We're going to be a resource to you. So thank you, students. Thank you, parents, for supporting us during this time. May God bless you, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Goodbye.